In the most remote corners of our planet, far from bustling cities and tourist routes, secrets lie hidden that could revolutionize our understanding of the past. Ancient stone sculptures, carved by unknown masters, stand frozen in time, like silent sentinels of forgotten knowledge. Who created these monuments? For what purpose? In these places where time seems to flow differently, sacred sites remain, whose energy can even be felt by skeptics. Places where the boundary between worlds is thin. Local residents whisper about spirits dwelling among the rocks, about mysterious fires that appear on moonless nights, about inexplicable sounds echoing from the depths of the earth. Scientists arrive with modern equipment, but leave with more questions than answers. Petroglyphs found in inaccessible caves depict creatures and symbols that defy straightforward interpretation. Are they records of everyday life or encrypted messages for future generations? Or perhaps they are traces of contact with something beyond our comprehension? Today, we embark on a journey to these mysterious places, balancing between scientific explanations and ancient legends, trying to unravel the mysteries that this land has held for millennia. One of the places where ancient mysteries intertwine with living culture is the majestic Uluru, a colossal monolith rising in the middle of the Australian desert, like a giant ship frozen in a sea of sand. This enigmatic stone giant, whose color shifts from deep terracotta to fiery red depending on the sun's position, has been keeping secrets for at least 20,000 years. The Anangu people have been passing down sacred stories for generations about how, in the mythical time of dreams, Chukurpa, ancient ancestral beings created this monument. Each crack and curve of this massive rock holds a sacred meaning, a story, and a mystical resonance. Remarkably, many researchers who spent time alone here reported strange acoustic phenomena, whispers echoing from the depths of the rock, inexplicable vibrations, and sounds reminiscent of ancient chants, despite there being no living souls nearby. Is this the wind playing in the numerous fissures, or the voices of ancestral spirits still dwelling in this sacred place? Local elders claim that at certain moments, when the boundary between worlds becomes particularly thin, one can hear Uluru singing, telling stories of the world's creation. Geologists explain this as the expansion and contraction of the rock due to the extreme temperature fluctuations characteristic of the desert. But does a scientific explanation diminish the mystical beauty of this phenomenon? Particularly mesmerizing is the moment of sunset, when the entire mass of Uluru seems to glow from within, shimmering with all shades of red and orange. At these moments, it appears that the ancient monolith is pulsating, breathing, living its mysterious life. Anthropologists studying the Anangu culture discovered that many cave paintings decorating the caves at the base of Uluru depict beings unlike humans or known animals. Who were these mysterious creators? Do these images represent real beings that once inhabited these lands? Or are they symbolic representations of spiritual concepts beyond modern comprehension? Of particular interest are certain sections of the rock where the Anangu strictly forbid uninitiated people to approach. According to them, these are places of great power where ancestral spirits dwell, and disrespectful intrusion can disrupt the delicate balance of the universe. Scientists who have studied these areas using modern equipment have recorded unexplained magnetic anomalies and strange temperature fluctuations not typical of the rest of the monolith. Is this a coincidence, or did the ancient guardians of these places possess knowledge that allowed them to identify special energetic points on Earth? Some researchers propose that Uluru may be part of an ancient global network of sacred places, connected by invisible energetic lines. Much like the megalithic structures of Europe and South America, often align along so-called lines of power. Others suggest that the unique mineral composition of the rock creates a special electromagnetic field that affects human consciousness and promotes altered states of perception. But whatever science may say, for the Anangu people, Uluru remains a living entity, an ancient witness to the creation of the world, a keeper of sacred knowledge and wisdom of the ancestors. And when standing at the base of this colossal monolith, watching the last rays of the setting sun painted in the color of burning copper, one cannot help but feel awe at the grandeur of time and the unspeakable mysteries that may never be fully revealed to modern man. But this is just one of the countless enigmas of the ancient world. Ancient rock art galleries of Kakadu and other sites, Australia. Voices of the ancestors on stone canvases. But this is not the only mystery hidden on the Australian continent. Gazing upon the magnificent rock art galleries of Kakadu, it is difficult not to feel that these stone canvases are windows into the souls of the ancient Aboriginals, their worldview and understanding of the world around them. Here, amidst the sun-baked rocks and lush tropical forests, the walls of caves and cliffs are adorned with images that transport us to distant times when strange creatures such as Wangina roamed the earth. These unusual beings, resembling humans but possessing unique appearances and attributes, are central figures in the myths and legends of the people who have lived here for millennia. Wangina are not just mythological beings, they are guardians of water, life, and fertility, who, according to the legends, descended from the heavens to teach people how to care for the earth and its bounty. Remarkably, every image, line, and color in these depictions is not accidental. They convey sacred knowledge that preserves ancient traditions and teachings. How could such complex symbols and ideas have been etched onto stone and remain relevant to this day? These carvings, cut into hard rock, seem to whisper to us about the past and what could have been. Researchers studying these galleries note that some images have the power to evoke deep emotional reactions in viewers, as if they awaken forgotten instincts and feelings. But how is this possible? It may be that the rock art is not just art, but a part of ritual practices where every stroke has its meaning and purpose. However, with the passage of time and changes in climate, many of these works of art are beginning to disappear, raising a crucial question. How can this unique cultural heritage be preserved for future generations? Local communities are actively working to protect these sacred sites, understanding that the loss of these images would be equivalent to the loss of their identity and connection to their ancestors. But how can we, modern people, understand and appreciate the depth and significance these rock paintings hold for the Aboriginals? Some researchers suggest that the unity of society and its deep connection to nature, reflected in these paintings, could be an important lesson for the modern world, where the basics of harmony with the surrounding environment are often forgotten. But despite all efforts, the mysteries surrounding these ancient galleries remain unanswered. What were the true intentions of their creators? What did they want to pass on to future generations by inscribing their thoughts on stone? Perhaps we will never know all the secrets hidden in these sacred places, but one thing is certain. Each image, each petrified word preserved in these galleries continues to speak to us, reminding us that history is not just a collection of dates and events, but a living fabric filled with the voices of ancestors waiting to be heard. And so, from the Kakadu Rock Art Galleries, filled with the voices of the ancestors, let us move on to other mysterious artifacts that also hold the secrets of ancient times. Karajo Rocks, Australia. Petrified heroes of Western Australia's myths. Moving from the rock galleries of Kakadu, filled with the voices of ancestors, we find ourselves in another extraordinary and mysterious place, the Karajo Rocks. These peculiar rock formations, situated in the heart of Western Australia, seem to have stepped out of fairy tales, appearing as petrified characters from ancient myths. Towering pillars with twisted and bent shapes resemble living beings that once roamed these lands. Some appear as proud warriors, while others evoke animals close to the Aborigines, such as kangaroos or emus. How did these rocks acquire such unusual forms? According to local Aboriginal legends, the Karajo rocks are not just natural formations, but petrified heroes who once fought for their land in great battles. Myths tell of the former inhabitants of these lands, warriors and hunters, being turned into stone as punishment or through magic, so they would forever guard their homeland. These stories are passed down through generations, growing with new details and interpretations, but always retaining their magical essence. How could such a strange transformation occur? Perhaps it is connected to ancient rituals performed on these lands, where people sought protection and blessings from ancestral spirits. Local residents believe that each rock holds the soul of one of the heroes, and that is why they treat them with respect and reverence. Ancient myths describe how these heroes, now turned into stone, continue to protect their land from evil and misfortune. But what were the mythical events that led to their petrification? And do these rocks truly hear and feel, as some shamans claim? These questions remain unanswered, leaving room for imagination and contemplation. Researchers and archaeologists studying the Karajo rocks find not only natural, but also cultural values in them. Some suggest that the shape and arrangement of the rocks may contain important astronomical and calendrical data, possibly related to the movement of stars and seasons. But should we rely solely on scientific approaches when dealing with such mysterious places? What is the true nature of these rocks' natural processes or traces of ancient rituals? These questions remain unanswered, creating an aura of mystery around these petrified heroes. Thus, from the Karajo rocks, shrouded in legends and myths, let us move on to other enigmatic artifacts that also hold the secrets of ancient times, waiting for their stories to be told. Like the tall columns that have absorbed the spirit of time and mystery, they can shed light on our understanding of the past. Burra Range, Blue Mountains, Australia. In the realm of Jovi and ancient spirits. As we journey into the heart of the Blue Mountains, we enter a world shrouded in the mist of ancient legends and mysteries, the realm of Burra Range. These majestic rock formations, towering high above the earth, seem to act as sentinels, watching over those who dare to tread upon their sacred lands, creating an atmosphere of the unknown and the enigmatic. Each crag and crevice here is not merely a natural wonder, but a place imbued with the spirits of ancestors who, according to the Aboriginals, guard this sanctuary. How could it be that these cliffs and gorges became the home of such legendary beings as Jovi? Myths tell us that Jovi is not just a mythical figure, but a symbol of power and wisdom, a guardian of ancient knowledge, capable of communicating with the spirits of nature. According to the legends, his appearance always precedes significant events, both in the lives of people and in the very language of the land. The tales say that Jovi can take on different forms, sometimes appearing as a massive being, and at other times as a ghostly silhouette, quietly wandering the rocks. How did he become such a significant figure in the culture of the local tribes? Perhaps it is due to his ability to protect and guide, helping people find their way in this complex world. But not all stories about Jovi are peaceful and serene. Some of them speak of his wrath when the land was desecrated or when people forgot to respect nature. Such moments became significant, and it was then that great trials began, both for the communities and for the land itself. These stories, passed down from one generation to the next, shaped the culture in which the spirit of Jovi lives, and his influence is felt even in the modern world. But how could it be that this extraordinary entity embodies not only a protector, but also a judge? In this context, Burra Range becomes not just a place of power, but also a stage where ancient traditions and modern realities collide. Researchers studying this mysterious corner find here not only traces of human activity, but also numerous natural artifacts that can tell the story of the formation of these mountains. LiDAR research shows that in ancient times, there could have been complex systems of structures that served as both sanctuaries and astronomical observatories. But this is just one possible interpretation, and as always, there are many unsolved mysteries. What else do these rocks hide? What other information might be inscribed in their mass? With each step taken on these lands, we can only guess at how many secrets remain unexplored. So, from Burra Range, surrounded by spirits and legends, let us move on to other mysterious places that also await their turn to share their stories. In which corner of the world are there secrets similar to those we have found here in the Blue Mountains? Easter Island, Chile, Oceania, the silent guardians of the mysterious cult. Now, let us transport ourselves to the remote Easter Island, where the silent guardians of the ancient cult, the famous Moai, stand sentinel over their secrets, immersing us in a world of mysteries and unsolved stories. These colossal stone statues, carved from volcanic tuff, seem not just to be monuments, but also keepers of the spirit of ancestors, hidden behind their stone faces. How did this awe-inspiring culture arise, creating such magnificent works of art? According to local legends, each statue is a personification of an ancestor, who was supposed to protect and bless their community. Each of them, like a majestic sentinel, watches over the horizon where the sky meets the sea. But how were these stone giants created and moved from place to place? Scientists propose various theories, from using trees as rollers to a complex system of ropes and pulleys. However, none of these theories can explain how such massive blocks were moved over long distances without modern technology. Some researchers suggest that the local inhabitants could have used sound to move the statues, creating resonant vibrations that helped lift and move heavy objects. But how could ancient people develop such complex methods? It seems there is something mystical, something that goes beyond scientific explanation. We can only speculate what motivated these people: faith, culture, or perhaps something else, of which we are unaware. Looking at the Moai, one cannot help but feel their magnetism, their invisible connection to the earth and sky. The local inhabitants believe that the statues guard their lands, and many of them continue to perform rituals related to their ancestors. In their culture, there are myths about how the spirits of ancestors come into the world of the living through these statues, adding to their significance. How did these stone figures become symbols of an entire civilization, which, according to some scientists, could have disappeared due to ecological catastrophes? This leads us to the question of how such a developed culture, creating such amazing monuments, could have vanished without a trace. Some suggest that this is related to the depletion of natural resources, while others propose theories about external invasions or catastrophes. But all these theories only emphasize one important fact: the mystery of Easter Island remains unsolved. What knowledge was lost with the disappearance of this civilization? With each glance at these silent statues, we can only sense how much more remains unexplored. Around the Moai, there is a spirit of history, waiting to be deciphered. Thus, from the mysteries of Easter Island, filled with spirits and myths, we can move on to other corners of our world, full of secrets and mysteries waiting to be revealed. What other enigmatic artifacts are hidden in the depths of the earth, waiting for someone to remember them again? Rano Raraku, Easter Island. The frozen history of unfinished glory. Continuing our journey through the mysteries of Easter Island, we find ourselves at the heart of its history, the quarry of Rano Raraku. Here, amidst green hills and majestic volcanoes, time seems to have stopped. This enigmatic landscape is not only the source of volcanic tuff from which the famous Moai were carved, but also a place where one can see numerous unfinished statues, frozen in anticipation of their completion. Each of these stone figures, each line and curve, seems to tell a story of a time when life and labor were abundant. But for some reason, the work was suddenly halted. What could have happened in this isolated place to so abruptly stop the creation of these magnificent works of art? According to local legends, internal conflicts between clans could have caused discord and halted collective labor. It might have been disputes over resources, power, or even divine wrath descending upon this people for their hubris. How could these mighty creators, who brought their ancestors to life in stone, have faced such insurmountable challenges? Each unfinished statue is not just a stone, it is a testament to a tragedy, a culture that may have lost its way. Some researchers suggest that rituals intended to appease ancestral spirits might have taken place in Rano Raraku, but over time, these rituals lost their effectiveness, leaving the statues in their incomplete forms as silent witnesses to a bygone era. But Rano Raraku holds more than just unfinished statues. It also harbors a series of mysterious symbols and signs that may have been intended to convey deep knowledge about the world and the people who created them. How many encrypted messages remain hidden in these stones, waiting to be deciphered? Some archaeologists believe that these unfinished statues may hold answers to questions about how the ancient inhabitants of Easter Island interacted with nature and each other. But alas, the truth slips away like sand through our fingers. We can only speculate about what might have happened in this sacred place. How could a culture with such remarkable skills have become trapped in its own conflicts? Could they have ever completed their masterpieces? Or did divine forces intervene in their fate? Do these unfinished statues evoke the same feelings in you as they do in me, the sensation that they gaze at us, holding secrets that we can barely comprehend? Meanwhile, from the quarry of Rano Raraku, where the statues await their time, let us transport ourselves to another place filled with mysteries and untold stories. As we travel the world, we may encounter artifacts that also tell tales of their culture, their ancestors, leaving us only with riddles. What else does our planet hide? What secrets await their turn to be revealed, like the stone sentinels on Easter Island? Orongo, Easter Island, sanctuary at the edge of the volcano. Traveling to another mysterious place on Easter Island, we find ourselves in Orongo, a ceremonial village located at the edge of the mighty volcano Rano Kau. This enigmatic corner of the earth, shrouded in the shadows of ancient rituals, invites us to delve into a culture steeped in legends of the Birdman. Here, on cliffs overlooking the abyss of the ocean, petroglyphs remain, preserving moments that may never be fully understood. Each carved symbol, each line, seems to be a code waiting for its decipherer to unveil the veil over ancient ceremonies that took place here. Against the backdrop of a majestic horizon where the sky meets the ocean, local residents conducted their rituals dedicated to birds, which, according to their beliefs, were intermediaries between the world of the living and the world of spirits. What happened on those days when people gathered to watch battles in which the bravest among them competed to become the Birdman? Legends say that the winner of this contest became not only a hero, but also a bearer of sacred knowledge, which he passed on to his people. How could this cult influence the life of an entire community? And what mysteries does its mystical significance hide? Unraveling this mysterious place, we encounter the question: how strong were the ties between these people and nature? Orongo, with its ruined houses and petroglyphs, seems to tell us that something more than just competitions took place here. Perhaps these rituals were meant to appease the spirits of their ancestors, who watched every move of their descendants, protecting them from evil forces and filling their lives with meaning. But this is not the only mystery that Orongo holds. The petroglyphs here depict not only scenes of competitions, but also sacred birds, which may have been symbols of divine messages. Were these images an attempt to capture the mystical connection between humans and nature? Or do they contain encrypted messages that we cannot understand? Some researchers suggest that these symbols could have served as a map for navigating the treacherous waters that their ancestors once sailed, but the truth remains hidden, like fog over the ocean. With each minute spent in this sanctuary, we can feel the spirit of ancientness and mysticism. Each crack in the stones, each indentation a reminder that life once boiled here, filled with passion and faith. How could this culture create such a powerful ritual? And what became of those who once lived and created here? Orongo leaves us with many questions, each one calling to our deepest instincts to find answers. How could this atmosphere, filled with ancient rituals and mysterious symbols, influence the fate of humanity? Perhaps we will never know everything that lies behind these stones and petroglyphs, but one thing is clear. Orongo is not just the remnants of the past. It is a window into a world that may be far more complex and mysterious than we can imagine. And as we leave this sanctuary, we ask ourselves, are there such places and events in other corners of the world, waiting for their time to be revealed and understood, to know what really happened in the distant past? Nan Madol, Micronesia, the city of spirits on artificial islands. Traveling to the heart of the Pacific Ocean, we find ourselves in Nan Madol, a mysterious city that, like a lost treasure in the waves of time, holds countless secrets and mysteries. This unique complex of artificial islands, built on shallow waters, resembles a set for an ancient myth. Massive stone blocks, perfectly fitted together, seem to guard ancient secrets embedded in their cold hearts. At first glance, this place appears abandoned, but listen closely. The air is filled with the spirit of the past, and it seems as if the walls whisper about their inhabitants. Legends of the local people tell of how Nan Madol was not built by human hands alone, but under the guidance of spirits who descended from the heavens to help their descendants create this magnificent city. According to the legends, it was these spirits who taught the ancient builders the technology to easily move enormous stones, which remain a mystery to modern scientists today. How could such an advanced civilization disappear, leaving behind only ruins surrounded by the sea? What were their knowledge and customs, and what preceded their sudden decline? Walking through the winding canals and ancient platforms, we can feel Nan Madol radiating magnetism and mystery. Each crack in the stone, each hidden corner, seems to hold memories of the life that once thrived here. Local residents believe that the spirits of their ancestors still roam these ruins, guarding their heritage. But what really happened to this remarkable civilization? Are there messages they left us, which we cannot decipher? According to one theory, Nan Madol was not only a center of power, but also a sanctuary where rituals were performed to appease the spirits. Archaeologists, delving into the study of this place, find traces of sacrifices that may have taken place here for centuries. But why did the ancient inhabitants turn to their gods? What were they seeking in their prayers? Some researchers suggest that this city could have served as a portal, connecting the world of the living with the world of the spirits. Could they have been certain that their requests would be heard? However, Nan Madol is not the only enigmatic place on the planet. Comparing it with other forgotten cities, we see that there are similar monuments around the world, each holding its own unsolved mysteries. How many more such places await discovery by researchers? Perhaps hidden in the depths of jungles or at the bottom of the ocean are cities of which we are not even aware, waiting for someone to uncover their secrets. Leaving Nan Madol, we are left with the question, how deeply does this city reflect the complexity and mystery of our history? We are just beginning to realize that what we know about the past is only the tip of the iceberg. How many more secrets lie hidden beneath the earth, waiting to be revealed to tell us about forgotten civilizations and their mysteries? Nan Madol is a reminder that the world is filled with invisible threads connecting us to ancient cultures, and each of them deserves a place in our understanding of history. Basalt columns, various islands of Oceania, Traces of ancient giants. As you travel through Oceania, it's hard to miss the majestic basalt columns that stand like sentinels of time, towering over the earth, reminiscent of remnants of unknown structures built by ancient giants. These natural formations, created millions of years ago as a result of volcanic activity, inspire awe and reverence, and their perfect geometric shapes often seem too ideal to be mere caprices of nature. Each column, each outcrop, seems to remind us that once there may have lived beings of incredible strength and wisdom. How could such monumental creations have appeared in this corner of the world? Perhaps they are evidence of ancient myths about giants who, according to legends, conquered mountains and created lands. On the islands of the Pacific, local residents tell amazing stories about how gods and titans, with unimaginable power, created these columns to serve them forever. Legends say that giants used these stone pillars as supports for their palaces and temples, and in their shadows, sacred rituals were performed. Every time we look at these incredible formations, our imagination paints pictures of mighty beings, perhaps conducting their affairs, addressing the heavens with prayers and sacrifices. But what is the true nature of these columns? Modern scientists link their origin to volcanic activity, when lava flows, cooling, fractured into polyhedral shapes. But how to explain such extraordinary symmetry and uniformity? Some researchers suggest that in the distant past, there may have existed highly developed civilizations that left us these enigmatic traces. Perhaps they used these natural columns in their architectural projects, creating temples and sanctuaries that reflected their beliefs and culture. But if we turn to myths, we see that many peoples associate these columns not only with giants, but also with deities who descended from the heavens to leave their mark on earth. How could it be that these heavenly beings, according to legends, used their powers to create such incredible structures? Are there any real proofs that gods once walked this land, leaving behind traces in the form of magnificent columns? Some researchers even suggest that these formations could have been places of power, where the worlds of the living and the dead intersected. Local residents believe that the spirits of ancestors guard these columns, and those who come with respect can hear their whispers. But what is it like to stand at the foot of such monumental structures, knowing that they hold not only history, but also mysteries that may never be unraveled? As we move from one island to another, we see that each column is unique. Each has its own secrets and legends. But this is not the only question that concerns us. Remembering Nanu Madol and its mysteries, we begin to realize that such gigantic structures exist not only in Oceania, but all over the world. How many more such places, full of secrets and mysteries, are waiting to be discovered? Perhaps somewhere in the forgotten corners of the planet, there are other columns left by ancient civilizations that also looked up at the stars and sought to understand their place in this vast world. Thus, basalt columns become not only objects of scientific interest, but also symbols of that mysterious connection that exists between man and nature, between the past and the present. They remind us that our history is full of mysteries, and that each stone, each crack in these gigantic formations can tell a story that we are not yet ready to hear. How many more mysteries are hidden under the veil of time, and how many unexplored paths lead to the unraveling of our common past? Cyclopean stone walls, various islands of Oceania, the enigma of the ancient giant builders. Traveling through the islands of Oceania, it is impossible not to be struck by the majestic Cyclopean stone walls that rise above the coasts and are submerged in the green jungle. These massive structures, composed of giant stones, whose weight often seems insurmountable even for modern technology, evoke not only admiration, but also many questions about how and by whom they were built. The magnificent blocks, perfectly fitted together, create the illusion that they were cut from a single piece of stone, rather than assembled by hand. How could ancient builders, using only primitive tools, have accomplished such a colossal task? Perhaps behind these walls lies a history filled with myths and legends that we are just beginning to uncover. Local residents tell stories of superhuman strength among the builders, who, according to legends, were not just ordinary people, but giants endowed with divine powers. Legends say that these giants, with incredible physical strength, could lift weights that modern cranes could not budge. How could these legends have arisen? Perhaps in ancient times, there really were beings capable of creating wonders. Or perhaps human imagination simply embellished memories of those who left this colossal footprint in history. But what is the true nature of these building giants? Some researchers suggest that behind these stone walls lies not only physical labor, but also divine intervention. There is a belief that gods, descending from the heavens, helped people in their construction, guiding their hands and giving them the strength necessary to create such magnificent structures. However, if we turn to a scientific approach, more questions arise. Archaeologists and geologists assert that such walls could have been built using complex technologies that have been lost over time. But how could people living thousands of years ago possess such knowledge? Research shows that transporting and installing such massive blocks would have required not only strength, but also well-thought-out mechanisms, about which we know nothing. Some scientists propose that on these islands, there could have existed advanced communities that used unique methods based on the laws of physics and mechanics to achieve incredible results. But despite all the research, many aspects remain unexplained. Looking at these walls, it is impossible not to feel the atmosphere of mystery and antiquity. Each crack in the stone, each seam between blocks can tell a story, but only to those who are willing to listen to these whispers. Local residents believe that the spirits of ancestors guard these places, and that those who come with respect can feel their presence. What is it like to stand at the foot of these mighty walls and realize that they hold not only architectural achievements, but also secrets that may be forever lost to humanity? Perhaps it is here, among these stone giants, that the answers to questions about our past await their time to be revealed. Moving from one ruin to another, we see that similar cyclopean constructions are not only found in Oceania, but also in other corners of the planet. Comparing these walls with similar structures, we begin to realize that ancient builders may have been more advanced than we usually think. How many more such enigmas lie beyond our understanding? With each new discovery, we encounter questions to which we cannot find answers. And despite the efforts of scientists and researchers, the enigmas of ancient civilizations continue to amaze and intrigue, leaving a trail of uncertainty behind them. Thus, cyclopean stone walls become not just artifacts of the past, but symbols of how humanity has striven for greatness and understanding of its place in the world. They remind us that many mysteries remain unsolved, and that each stone may hold an answer to a question that we have not yet asked. How many more unsolved mysteries are hidden under the veil of time, and how many stories await their time to be told? Sunken cities and ruins, Oceania. Echoes of lost worlds. Diving into the depths of the oceanic ocean, we encounter extraordinary mysteries hidden beneath the water's surface. Here, on the ocean floor, lie sunken cities, about which local residents tell legends passed down through generations. These underwater ruins, covered in corals and green algae, seem to whisper about lost civilizations that once flourished on these lands. How could they disappear? What happened to their inhabitants? The answers to these questions may be hidden in the depths where light does not reach, but the legends remain alive, like the spirits of those who once lived there. Local folklore speaks of great lands submerged by mighty waters, believed to have been inhabited by wise and technologically advanced peoples. One such myth is the story of a lost city that rose from the ocean's depths only during the darkest times for humanity, to remind them of what they had lost. What secrets do these underwater structures hold? Some researchers claim that the sunken cities may be connected to ancient magical rituals that could have had consequences, turning once thriving civilizations into myths. Technical research shows that underwater finds indeed have architectural elements similar to those found on land. Mysterious stone blocks, perfectly fitted together, raise similar questions to their terrestrial counterparts. How could ancient builders create such structures now lying at the bottom of the ocean? Some scientists suggest that these cities could have been part of a larger network connecting different islands of Oceania. But what was their fate? How could mighty waves and earthquakes destroy what once symbolized human achievements? These questions remain unanswered, shrouded in mystery. Diving into these waters, we can find not only stone skeletons, but also artifacts that hold the history of those who once inhabited these lands. The ocean depths become a kind of museum of forgotten worlds, where each discovery can tell us about the life, culture, and customs of the vanished peoples. But what is the true history of these objects? Some may have been used in rituals, while others could have been ordinary household items suddenly submerged. Legends of divine interventions and curses associated with these ruins only fuel interest in their study. What is the connection between myths and reality? Exploring these mysteries also raises the question of how many such sunken worlds remain undiscovered. With each new investigation, we find more evidence that humanity has always striven for greatness, but not always been prepared to deal with the consequences of its ambitions. Perhaps these sunken cities are not just artifacts, but warnings that even the most powerful civilizations can disappear, leaving only a whisper in the ocean's waters. How many such lost worlds await their turn to be rediscovered? How many more secrets are hidden under the cover of oceanic waters, ready to reveal themselves to those brave enough to explore them? Thus, sunken cities become not only objects of archaeological research, but also symbols of our forgetfulness. They remind us that human history is full of mysteries and unanswered questions, that even in the deepest waters, answers to questions we have not yet asked may lie hidden. What were the true fates of these civilizations? Will they remain forever submerged in the ocean of time, or will we one day be able to uncover the truth? Sacred groves with unusual trees, Australia and Oceania, sanctuaries of spirits in living nature. Transitioning from submerged cities to sacred groves, we once again immerse ourselves in a world where nature and spirits intertwine into a single entity. These places, filled with ancient magic and mysteries, are living sanctuaries where each tree holds a history, and each whisper of the wind is the voice of ancestors. In Australia and Oceania, sacred groves are not just part of the landscape. They are the abodes of spirits, where the forces of nature interweave with the cultural traditions of indigenous peoples. Touching the bark of unusual trees, such as majestic eucalyptus or sacred banyan trees, allows us to feel the breath of antiquity. Legends say that these trees can communicate with those who know how to listen. How is this possible? Perhaps the ancient knowledge hidden in their branches awaits the right moment to be revealed. Local peoples believe that sacred groves are places where two worlds intersect, ours and the world of spirits. Here, among the twisted roots and dense foliage, one can hear the whispers of ancestors who once lived on this land. Each tree, each plant, is not just a part of the ecosystem, but a bearer of history, filled with meaning and significance. For example, some eucalyptus trees are considered sacred, and their leaves are used in rituals of purification and connection with spirits. Do they truly possess magical power, or is this merely the product of imagination? But who can say what the true boundaries are between reality and mysticism? Research has shown that some trees in these groves possess unique properties. Their sap can have healing qualities, and their leaves can preserve the spirits of ancestors. Artifacts found in these sanctuaries confirm the connection between nature and culture, between the present and the past. But how could nature create such extraordinary beings capable of preserving the memory of long-gone times? Some scientists suggest this is just a coincidence, but local residents know every sacred oak or cedar is a guardian of stories waiting to be told. Exploring sacred groves raises the question of how many such places remain unexplored. Perhaps these groves hide not only spirits, but also answers to questions that humanity has been asking since time immemorial. What would history be like if we could understand the language of nature and communicate with it? These trees, with their ancient roots, could be the link between the past and the future, between what we know and what remains a mystery. How many more secrets are hidden in these sacred groves, waiting for someone to dare to unravel them? In conclusion, sacred groves become not just natural formations, but living monuments that remind us of the importance of the connection between people and nature, between spirits and the material world. These places teach us respect for what surrounds us, and that even in the most ordinary things, there is a place for wonder. How many more such spirit abodes remain beyond our perception? How many stories wait for their time to be told? Each grove, each tree, can be the beginning of a new legend that connects us with those who came before us. Fossilized fungi, Australia. Petrified creatures from Aboriginal myths. As we journey from sacred groves to mysterious formations, we encounter peculiar rock formations that resemble mushrooms sprouting from the earth. These petrified beings, scattered across the Australian landscape, captivate with their strange appearance and enigmatic aura. Local Aborigines believe these rock formations are not just natural phenomena, but the result of mythical events from a distant past when the world was filled with magic and wonders. Legends tell that once upon a time, these mushrooms were living creatures, transformed into stone as a result of a great battle between spirits. According to Aboriginal myths, a powerful spirit once lived in this region, protecting the land and nature. It safeguarded its people from evil forces. But one day, evil triumphed, and the spirit was forced to take the form of petrified mushrooms to preserve its memory. How is this possible? Perhaps nature holds some secret we have yet to understand. These stone mushrooms, with their twisting forms and unusual textures, transport us to the world of ancient myths, where each stone holds a story. Local residents recount how these mushrooms serve as sites for rituals and ceremonies where they communicate with ancestral spirits. They believe these formations contain ancient knowledge that can be revealed to those who know how to listen. How many secrets are hidden in these frozen forms? Researchers studying these rocks strive to decipher their origins using modern methods such as carbon dating and mineral analysis. Yet science cannot explain everything. There is something mystical about these natural formations that makes us ponder how much more we do not know. Each fossilized mushroom has its unique history. Their whimsical forms inspire awe and pose the question, how could nature create such extraordinary sculptures? Some scientists suggest it is the result of erosion, but local legends claim it is the result of ancient transformations. These rocks, like guardians of forgotten history, stand sentinel over secrets that were once lost but can be rediscovered. Delving into myths, we understand that each of these rocks is not just a stone, but a bearer of culture and spirit. How many more such mythical formations lie hidden within the earth, waiting for someone to dare to explore them again? What would history be like if we could understand the language of these stone creatures? They seem to whisper to us that time does not always erase the traces of the past, and that even the smallest detail can hide a great mystery. Concluding our journey through the world of fossilized fungi, we realize that these are not just natural formations, but living testimonies of ancient myths and legends that continue to live in people's hearts. How many more stories are hidden in these stone formations? What secrets await their turn to be revealed? Each rock, each petrified creature, can be a key to understanding not only our past, but also what the future holds when we finally learn to read the language of nature and its mysteries. Transitioning from petrified mushrooms to even more enigmatic phenomena, we find ourselves in the heart of Australia, where singing rocks reside. These peculiar stone formations, which are more than just geological features, produce melodious sounds when struck, as if they themselves are instruments of ancient music. How is this possible? These rocks, resembling giant chimes, attract not only scientists, but also local residents who believe that the sounds emanating from them are the voices of spirits residing within the earth. Legends of the indigenous peoples claim that these rocks were created by gods in ancient times, when the world was filled with magic and wonder. It is said that when humans and spirits lived in harmony, the gods gifted people with these stones that could speak. Thus, the sounds produced by these rocks are considered not just music, but encrypted messages from ancestors reminding us of the importance of unity with nature and respect for its mysteries. Research indicates that the acoustic properties of these rocks are linked to their composition and shape. Some scientists use methods such as seismic mapping to understand how these sounds are formed. However, no matter how hard we try to explain this phenomenon scientifically, there is something mystical about these rocks singing. Why has nature endowed them with this ability? Perhaps it is not just a coincidence, but part of a grand design that we have yet to comprehend. Each sound produced by the rocks is unique, and local residents often organize rituals where they gather around these rocks to hear their melodies. They believe that each sound contains a story that can guide them in their lives. How is this possible? Some researchers suggest that these sounds may have healing properties, affecting the human psyche and body. But what are the true sources of these melodies? Remain a mystery. Do these melodies contain messages that we have not yet learned to decipher? Or are they perhaps remnants of ancient rituals that we use in modern times, unaware of their true significance? The singing rocks, shrouded in myths and legends, become not only objects of scientific interest, but also symbols of the deep connection between humans and nature. How many such places exist on Earth, where nature speaks to us in its own language? We can only guess how many secrets lie hidden within the depths of our planet, waiting for someone to dare to explore them again. Each sound, each resonating chord, is a reminder that the world around us is full of wonders that we do not always understand, but which await their moment to be heard. In the end, how much history is hidden in these rocks? What mysteries surround us? And how many of them do we still need to uncover to understand that the past and present are connected by an invisible thread? Diving into the world of mysteries, we transition from resonating stones to enigmatic geoglyphs that adorn the surface of the Australian continent. These ancient earthen mounds and drawings, visible only from above, resemble secret signs etched onto the face of the earth, sparking numerous questions among researchers and history enthusiasts. What were the intentions of their creators? Why did they leave such magnificent and mysterious artworks? Geoglyphs, consisting of complex figures and patterns, could have been created thousands of years ago when ancient peoples inhabited this land, possessing deep knowledge of the world around them. Some scientists suggest that these drawings served not only as landscape decorations, but also had ritualistic or astronomical purposes. Perhaps they were used for conducting sacred ceremonies or as navigational aids for travelers seeking their way through the vast desert expanses. Legends of the indigenous peoples of Australia tell of these geoglyphs being images of ancestors or significant events from their history. Some associate these signs with celestial bodies, claiming that the geoglyphs were created to track the movements of stars and planets, which could have been crucial for agriculture and navigation. Local residents believe that each line and curve holds a sacred meaning, serving as a reminder of ancient knowledge that has been lost over time. But what is the true purpose of these mysterious drawings? Why have they remained unnoticed for so long? Some researchers propose that they could have been created not only by humans, but also by other beings that lived during a time when the world was filled with mystery and wonder. The challenge in studying these geoglyphs lies in the fact that many of them are located in remote and inaccessible places, making their study a true challenge for archaeologists. Using modern technologies such as satellite imagery and drone research, scientists strive to unravel this ancient puzzle. But each discovered detail only adds new questions. How could ancient people create such monumental works of art using simple tools? And what secrets do these enigmatic signs hide? Some theories suggest that the geoglyphs were part of ritualistic practices in which people communicated with the spirits of the earth, seeking their blessing and protection. However, despite all efforts, many aspects of these geoglyphs remain unexplored. Perhaps we will never know the true purpose of their creation. These iconic shapes on the earth, like mysterious messages from the past, continue to intrigue and inspire. They remind us that even in our modern world, there are many unexplored territories, and each discovery raises new questions. How many more such mysteries lie hidden beneath our feet, waiting for someone to dare to uncover their secrets? Just like the resonating stones, geoglyphs speak to us in their own language, the language of antiquity, which we are only beginning to understand. And who knows what other secrets and stories they may reveal if we are willing to listen and explore. Every new discovery could be a key to unraveling not only one mystery, but many others waiting their turn on this enigmatic path through the footsteps of history. Exploring the mysterious expanses of Australia and Oceania, we delved into a world where ancient legends and enigmatic artifacts hold an immeasurable wealth of human culture and beliefs. These mysterious places, from enigmatic geoglyphs to ancient ritual sites, seem to whisper to us about long-lost civilizations and their deep understanding of the world. How is it that we still cannot fully decipher these mystical riddles? Each stone, each line on the earth carries a message from the past, perhaps waiting for the right moment to be understood. Despite the remoteness of this region, its mysteries stir a universal interest in what was and what may be. They remind us that history is not just facts and dates, but an immense ocean of the unknown, where each discovery spawns new questions. What else lies hidden within the depths of this land, waiting for someone to dare to look into its secrets again? We invite you to share your impressions and thoughts in the comments. Which mysteries have impressed you the most? Which ancient riddles would you like to explore further? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to continue this exciting journey through the enigmas of our planet. Each new encounter opens doors to the unknown, and who knows what incredible stories await us ahead. Let's together explore this mysterious path, following the traces of our history and opening new horizons.